Welcome back, my friends, to the podcast that never ends. Yes, this is the Blue Day podcast, and for Chelsea fans everywhere, every day is a blue day. I am your host, the creator, the man with a face for podcasting, Keith Lawrence, and this week joining me are two passionate Chelsea supporters flying that blue flag with pride in the wonderful country of the Netherlands. They represent the Dutch Blues official supporters club. Here is Jorrit Jan Meijer and Philippe van der Schepop. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm sorry if I said those names horribly wrong, but how
The intro was great. The intro was great. I loved it. But the name is really difficult to pronounce, so it's not a problem. It's not your fault.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
No, that's absolutely fine. Great to have you on the show, gents. I just want to obviously talk about the supporters group in general as well, but we'll sort of talk about, for the first thing I want to sort of talk to you guys about is obviously talk about Chelsea of today, and obviously talk about the new ownership of Todd Boehly replacing Roman as the new owner. Just wanted to get your general thoughts on that to start off with.
Okay. You can start first, Jorrit, if you want.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Firstly, it was nice to see Boehly on the ground and with the fans, taking the pictures and just taking the time. And see him already in London. That's great. I was thinking maybe he's staying longer in America and we don't see him quite a few times, but he came along and that's great to see. And finally we got those stupid rules removed. Like not going to the matches was really hard.
Yes, I totally agree. The sanctions, of course, were really bad for Chelsea, and it couldn't go. It couldn't continue for a long time because you have all the things that you earn go directly to the government, and you have all those costs, the salaries and everything. So it was also really difficult and stressful period, and it's quite impressive that Chelsea still managed to get results on the pitch, I think, because it was really an uncertain situation. And I'm really happy that in the end we found a solution. That the club found a solution, and it's difficult to say what the new owner will bring to the club in the future. But the first impression is quite good. What Jorrit says that he's been at the stadium a few times. He looks like, even though he's very rich, he looks like quite a simple guy, how he's dressed up and with the people. So it's also really important that he can unite with the fans, that he understands the fans, and the first impression is quite good, I think. Yeah.
Now let's start off by talking about the supporters group. How did the Dutch Blues start, and how did the concept of this supporters group come about?
Well, it started in August 2020. It was launched before on the website of Chelsea, but the founder, Maxwell Stein, couldn't find a way to find the supporters. Because it's really hard to find supporters in the Netherlands when you don't know where they are watching football. They are mostly, back then, they were all watching at home, not at a group, at a pub. So we needed to find them. And then I came along and I found the supporters club on the Chelsea website. And me and Maxwell started from August 2020 together. And until now, we have found the supporters by promotions on Instagram and getting a WhatsApp group. And this season we finally watched some matches together in Stamford Bridge. So it's really cool. It's really great.
Yes, and the group nowadays is really, Jorrit created also a group on WhatsApp, and there are a lot of people in that group. And the group is now so big that often it even happens that people go to the match at the same moment. And it's already a few months ago. I was in the airplane and I was texting in the group, and there was a guy only 2 seats in front of me of the same group. And then you meet new people, and that's really great. And that's in the end what Jorrit wants to achieve with the group, that you can unite Chelsea fans, that you have meetings, and that's a wonderful thing, of course.
That's pretty special. Of all places to sort of speak to somebody about Chelsea, so it's on a plane and you're going to the same place.
Yes.
Superb.
And
great.
that's not the first time that happened, because for Flip it was happening in the airplane, but I've found like maybe 10 new members in the airplane going to the matches and made them member by in the airplane. So that's really crazy. Like one guy I met who was sitting next to me and was also just from the Netherlands, and I made him a member during the flight.
That's great. Yeah.
That's not bad. As long as they bought you some duty frees as a thank you, surely that should be sort of nice.
Yes.
I was sort of asking this to a couple of other supporters groups as well, gents. Why Chelsea? What is it about Chelsea that appealed to you in regards to liking the club? Because obviously in Holland there's some fantastic clubs as well. But why Chelsea?
The thing is, should I talk first or you, Jorrit?
No, it's good, Flip.
Right, okay. No, it's fine. No, for me, it was always, I was raised as a kid by the stories of English football from my father. When he was a young guy, he always went with a good friend of him. He always went to English football in the past. When he was a young child, that friend brought him and other friends to England, and he was already a Chelsea fan in the 70s. When Chelsea was, that was really funny because it's also special because in the Netherlands, Chelsea wasn't famous at all. He was with a Chelsea scarf going around and people were asking, what is that football club? You know, you cannot even imagine that nowadays because Chelsea's that big. And my father always told these stories when I was young. And even though we have a good competition in the Netherlands with attractive football, the Premier League is something else. If you see the pace and the physical battles and the whole atmosphere, and it's a different world, you know. And when I was starting to, based on the stories of my father, I started to get interested in the Premier League. I was watching football those days, and it became more and more a Chelsea fan because in the Netherlands we don't have a proper football club with blue shirts. You know, it was always my favorite color, and I saw that team, and it was a beautiful team, you know, and it was always the really winning mentality, you know, the physical. In the team, the mentality, it was something different than I've ever seen in the Netherlands, you know. So I went in love with Chelsea, and then I think it was in the early 2000s that it happened. I still remember also the day that Abramovich took over, that we were really a little bit scared what would happen with the club, you know, because this was something new in the modern football. He was like the first, you know. And then 10 years later, I went to Chelsea for the first time with my father and my brother. And we went to Wigan Athletic in the match that they could win the league, you know, and they won it by 8-0. So it was an incredible experience. And after that, the love for Chelsea even got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the most special memory was in 2012 in Munich. I went there with two friends, and it was crazy and one of the best nights in my life. I can. It's difficult to tell it in a short story, you know. But basically, I fell just in love with the competition and with those blue shirts and those players, you know, those players around. Yeah.
And for me, it was like my friends were all friends of Liverpool or of Arsenal, and we were just starting to watch some Premier League games. And I just didn't like those clubs because they were only fan of because of Dirk Kuyt played there or Ryan Babel, and I found them really stupid players. So that's true. They couldn't play good football, and Chelsea were just like playing good defensive football. And I was thinking like, hey, this is the club that I want to support. And also the blue T-shirts, and I also really love the color blue. So that's why I became a member. I became fan. I just fell in love with the club from the moment I started watching them.
It's the same. Yes. And it's something you don't see in the Netherlands, you know. It's a different style also. Yeah. In the Netherlands, we always like it has to be attractive, it has to be beautiful, you know. And we, other Chelsea fans, we also felt in love because it was something else, you know. the defensive organization, throwing bodies on the line, all fighting until the end. And what happened in Munich was the perfect example of that mentality, and it's beautiful. And I think many Chelsea fans also that I know found something of themselves in that club. When I was a player, I was also like that, you know.
Same.
Beautiful to see.
And what's different about the Netherlands maybe is that every time I'm saying that I'm a Chelsea fan, I need to explain for 5 minutes why I'm a Chelsea fan, and afterwards they just don't want to acknowledge that I'm a Chelsea fan. They just don't understand. They just want to see attractive football and don't understand why I was in love with Mourinho's style of playing, or with Conte. Why I wanted to see that. They just found me stupid. That's what it is.
Difficult to explain. It's true. Yes, it changed during the years, because nowadays Chelsea is much more bigger, and you see that group with all those Dutch fans. It changed. But I remember when it was in 2004 or 5, when Chelsea played those semi-finals against Liverpool, and I was in a pub and everyone was supporting Liverpool. There were like 20 guys supporting Liverpool, and I was the only Chelsea fan. And they were really like, how could you support Chelsea? And it always has been like this, but it changed during the years, because nowadays Chelsea is more acknowledged as a big team. Many young people grow up by seeing Chelsea as a big team, and nowadays it changed a little bit, you know. But in those years, it was even worse. Yeah.
And do you get a lot of criticism or a lot of feedback from other supporters when you say that you support Chelsea?
Well,
like, why on earth, you know, you've got this team, you've got this team, why that team? Do you get a lot of issues with that?
Yeah. I was like working in the supermarket of my hometown, and I was speaking to a friend of mine about Chelsea Ajax, and it was afterwards that crazy 4-4. And
we're going to talk about that game later.
Yeah, yes. It was crazy, and I was being like shouted out by customers in the supermarket who came to me like, "Why the fuck are you Chelsea fan?" and "Fuck off." They were like saying loads of swear words. It was really, really, really crazy.
Yeah, but there are still people that don't understand it. Really, also because in the Netherlands, especially Arsenal was always quite popular, because they had like a Bergkamp and Overmars. So many people still wondering, how can you support Chelsea? I don't hear that often, but what I said, it has been changed during the years. You know, 50 years ago it was much different, and nowadays it's still strange for me to see after a football game of Chelsea. I see comments on the internet, and many people are quite positive about Chelsea nowadays, you know. But 50 years ago, everyone was hating, especially in the Netherlands. Only negative comments, you know.
There's like an article when you search Chelsea on the internet in the Netherlands on Google. There's an article about how can you be a Chelsea fan. And this like Arsenal fan, I don't know, but he is like saying loads of crazy things about us, and saying that we're crazy, and talking. He's like a 5 minutes long read about how crazy we are as a Chelsea fan in the Netherlands.
But this makes it even more beautiful. I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me, it's even more beautiful. The hate and everything, it makes it even more beautiful. You know, I love it. I don't want people that sympathize with Chelsea all the time. You know, I love it when they hate Chelsea. It makes it even more fun. You know, so I don't mind.
Yeah.
Now, you briefly mentioned the Chelsea game against Ajax in the Champions League. It was a couple of seasons ago. It was under Frank as the coach.
Mm-hmm.
What are your memories of that one? Did you guys go to that one at all? Did you go to the away one where we won? I believe it was 1-0 thanks to, I think it was Batshuayi.
Batshuayi, yes.
That's right. Did you guys sort of go to both of those games, or what are your memories of those encounters against Ajax?
Well, yeah, it was crazy because at home, I was like watching it at home, and I was in my own as a Chelsea supporter, and it was like my parents and my sister and my nephew back then, they were all Ajax supporters. So I was like in my own, sitting in a corner, almost crying about being it 4-1, and just couldn't believe it. And then when they scored 4-4, I was like throwing my scarf away, and it almost went on fire because I was throwing it into the candles. And yeah, it's really crazy. Very crazy game. I will never forget it. Never.
Yeah, it was
And
really
also,
crazy.
and also after the game, everybody was speaking to me like that it was the fault of the referee, and I was just keep saying, no, it was good, and the referee did the right thing. But everybody talked to me like, why do you support the referee? They just couldn't understand.
Yeah, there were some crazy decisions, but technically maybe he was right. But it was something that we've never seen before. What happened? I think. Yeah, for me it was a little bit strange also, because I just hoped that both Chelsea and Ajax went through to the next round. And my father is a big Ajax fan, and my brother is also a big Chelsea fan and an Ajax fan. So my brother now lives in London, by the way. He goes many matches away and at home. It's really nice to see. And but he's also a big Ajax fan. During those matches, I was also a little bit like, okay, if it's a draw and they both go through, it's fine for me, And when Ajax was up with 4-1, I was also really disappointed and angry. But in a certain moment, when that referee gave 2 red cards, I was also like, okay, when it's 4-4, it's fine, because there's also still some compassion. Ajax was playing a good game, and they got 2 red cards, and I thought, okay, if it's 4-4 in the end, it's fine by me, So I didn't enjoy it so much, to be honest. I enjoyed more when I really want Chelsea to win. And in this case, I thought, okay, Chelsea is the most important thing for me. I want them to go through, but I also want Ajax to go through. So if a draw is the best result and they both go through, it's fine for me.
And Chelsea could have won it as well, because I remember I was at the game, and I can't remember whose score it was.
Azpilicueta.
It was ruled out for offside, and I remember the whole ground was going nuts. And then it was a late call with the flag, and that would have been one of the most.
No, it was hands.
Comebacks.
It was hands. It was on his hand, the ball, but I don't know. But I was thinking like, no, it was a wrong decision. But it was a time that when you make hands, the attack is not counting.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's a crazy decision, because it wasn't like he had the ball really much on his hand. It was like really close, and
I'm not sure, but I had the feeling that it was like some compensation for the decision of the referee. 2 red cards and everything. And I thought if there is a little possibility to cancel the goal, to disallow it, they will use that opportunity to make it a little bit better, So yeah. And
it was a big win to beat them at the Amsterdam Arena as well, because not many people were tipping Chelsea to win that game either. Ajax looked as if they were favourites because of Frank with his inexperience as a coach, and with these young players like Tammy and Reece and Mason. To go there and win, that was a big deal.
Yeah, true. I remember it. Yeah. Ajax was really, really good those days, and Chelsea wasn't that solid, And it's impressive to win in Amsterdam.
And they had a certain Hakim Ziyech playing for Ajax as well, which we may come on to later. Maybe somebody who divides opinion. Chelsea have had a lot of top Dutch players throughout their history. Who would you say has been the best player for Chelsea to come from the Netherlands? I've got the list, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it first.
Wow.
Think about that. It's really... It wasn't Bogarde, to be...
Winston Bogarde.
Bogarde. He cashed out really well, he got... So Melchior was... I quite liked him. And Boularouz wasn't that impressive. He was crazy, but number 9 on the shirt, you remember?
Yes.
And there was Arjen Robben, of course, and Gullit. He also won the FA Cup with Chelsea.
Because
Arjen Robben was really talented, but also quite often injured, but great player.
Yeah, because of the FA Cup, I think Gullit. He really mentioned something for us, getting that FA Cup. I wasn't there around that time, but I watched it back, and I think that Ruud Gullit was the biggest player, Dutch player to ever play for us.
Hasselbank was also good. Yeah,
Hasselbank also.
Hasselbank, fantastic.
A lot of goals.
Fantastic striker.
Yeah.
Also,
Really
yeah.
So, I'm wondering who you have on the list, because maybe I forgot some names. Ed de Goey was also a quite good goalkeeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got a goalkeeping school in Holland as well. He's doing all right for himself. You got a guy called Ken Moncal who played for Chelsea in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yes.
Ian Robin, you've mentioned. Nathan Aki.
Yes.
Forgot him.
Carly Belarus, Winston Bogard, you've just mentioned. He made a fortune out of doing nothing. Mario Melchior and Hasselbank. So there has been Marco van Ginkel as well.
Yes.
Played for such a talented player, but it was just a shame, injuries and.
He really had a lot of injuries on his knees. Yes. Yeah. Difficult to achieve the level again. Yeah.
I believe he's back playing Dutch football. Is he at PSV now?
Yes. PSV. Yeah. He is really unfortunate. A lot of injuries on his knees. So it's difficult to come back. With knees injuries. Michael Essien was always one of my favorite players. But before and after that injury on his knee, he was a different player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But before, he was so impressive. He was one of my my favorite players on midfield.
I liked Ramirez also really much. He was also really good. Loads of people forget about him, but he was back then. He was a really great player.
Yeah, really important in the Champions League campaign to win. Yeah.
And one more Dutch player I did have on my list. I just wanted to double check. Boudewijn Zenden.
Yes. But he also played for Liverpool in the end. No?
Well, we try not to remember that here.
Because of that, he is not really a Chelsea. Not a Chelsea legend,
No. But we try to remember the good times when he was rather than playing for that horrible lot up north. But
yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about the supporters group in general now, and what is it like on a typical match day? When Chelsea are playing, what's it like for you guys? Do you guys meet up at a pub? Do you guys sort of watch it together at a house? What generally would happen for you guys on a match day for Chelsea?
Well, because we are quite a new group, we are still developing to get a group at every match. But we are not like in one city. In loads of supporter clubs, you see that they are like from Moscow or from Atlanta or another city, and they can go watch a game really easy with each other. And we got like Dutch Blues the whole of the Netherlands. So not everybody is easy to get to go to a pub to watch a game. And so what we are typically doing is everybody is on WhatsApp and we chat a lot with each other. On a match day, we got like more than 2,000 chats. And for big games, like Champions League games or against Liverpool or Manchester City, we have meetings in Utrecht. It's like the center of the Netherlands. And for those who want to go, we get tickets to the Chelsea games. And we go together then. And next year will be crazy because loads of people want to go, and now we finally can because of COVID. That's also one thing why we haven't had that many meetings. We couldn't because of the rules. It wasn't allowed, and it wasn't allowed for a really long time. So that's why we don't have that really often.
Yeah, totally true what Jorrit is saying. I think there will be nice plans for in the future, but it was difficult during COVID, and it's nice that you can meet at Utrecht. It's not so far, and in the end, Netherlands is not so big. So if you go to Utrecht, for everyone, it's fine going there. And there will be some nice plans in the future. We want to visit matches together, and would be also great to visit an away match. But as you know, it's quite difficult to get tickets.
Oh, and, don't get me started. We can have a 2-hour conversation on the lack of away tickets for supporters.
It's difficult. Yes. This is the first year for me in like 20 years of being a Chelsea fan. For the first time this year, I was able to go to an away match in England because my brother has friends there with season tickets, and this is the reason but when you are just a member and you want to wait in that queue for an away ticket, it's like 5 minutes and everything is sold out.
Yeah,
Impossible.
we've had a lot of issues with other supporters who have spoken to us on the podcast, and they've said, 10 o'clock is the UK time's the time for the away tickets. 5 minutes later, sold out. You're like,
Yeah.
There is a lot of issues. We are hopeful that Chelsea may sort of change that a little bit in terms of the away supporters, but there is unfortunately some issues that Chelsea fans have had, especially with this season being this first year since COVID, really, as well. So that I think has probably played a part. But in terms of the group as well, what's the ambition for the group? You guys have said it's a new supporters group. It's quite fresh. What's the overall ambition for it?
Well, at the beginning we were like thinking, well, maybe we get 50 members, or 60. But it was going crazy. It was really everybody who we could find on Instagram or on the internet. I found Flip also maybe by DM. How did I find you? Do you know?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, on social media or something. Yeah. I don't remember.
And our ambition was like to get maybe 300 members, but now we got 560. So the next goal is 1,000. I don't know how long it would take, but our goals we already reached. To get the group to get matches along, to help people find some new some new Chelsea friends in the Netherlands. Because loads of times I get like people like thanking me for the group that I'm doing all those work, and they're thanking me because they watched it always on their own. And they hadn't got any friends who were Chelsea supporters in the Netherlands. Now they have like a big group with loads of Chelsea fans, and that's like the most important thing. I don't have like a big goal to get many more members or to do this or to do that, but just providing a sustainable group. That's the real goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not for me. It's not that I have a big ambition or goal, but the most beautiful things are to unite people. Exactly what Jorrit is saying, that they can meet other Chelsea fans, talk about the passion. And another beautiful thing is for me is to, because I know I got the experience now going to Chelsea, I give advices, where you book an hotel. And it's really nice when I meet people who still have to go for the first time, that I can help them, and yeah, it's lovely to see, to give them advices and everything, and you have those football agencies in the Netherlands that provide traveling, and it's really really expensive, and this is also because many people don't know how to do it. You go there and where can I get a ticket and everything is difficult. And this is really a nice way that you can help, that you can help people out, and it's also beautiful to see when people still have to go for the first time and they're really dreaming about that first time to Chelsea, that you can give those advices. It's really nice to see, because I remember myself when I was like that,
And this great thing with the sports club, when you get like 25 members, you could get tickets through Chelsea before the sale. So you got like direct contact with them. So everybody of the supporters club can get tickets easily nowadays. Before it was really crazy and hard to get Chelsea tickets, because they were really sold out really quickly. And for a Dutch supporter to have loads of loyalty points, it's not that easy. Because we need to travel to the UK, and that costs a lot. So we can't go many times in a season like the UK supporters can. So that's really good about the sports club, that we can get tickets really easy at Chelsea.
So it's like a level playing field. So you're not sort of immediately having to chase after, as you say, your loyalty points to try and get tickets, or if you do get the opportunity to get cup semi-final or cup final tickets, you're not sort of right down at the bottom of the echelon because you've only got a certain amount of loyalty points. So Yeah, that is pretty good, and it's good that Chelsea are doing that for supporters groups around the world because, as you say, for you guys to get a plane ticket, then get accommodation, then to get match ticket on top. Jesus Christ! I mean, it's a lot of things to sort out,
Yeah, it's a lot, and if you in a certain moment you know a little bit where to go and a hotel that you come back often. And now I'm lucky because my brother's living in London, so I can sleep at this place. And now it's really easy. But if it's new for you, it's a lot to arrange, to find out about. Yeah.
Now, in terms of Chelsea Football Club itself, what you've mentioned briefly about the contact you've had in terms of tickets. What other contact do you get from the club? Is it do you sometimes get on a yearly basis, like certain merchandise that maybe sort of comes out? Do you sort of get any sort of perks, as they say, for being part of these official supporters group?
Yeah, I'm invited to meetings in Stamford Bridge, like twice a year, to speak with other supporter clubs and people from the board of Chelsea. I don't know, I haven't been there before, but I got the invitation, but I couldn't come there because of COVID. And we also get loads of merchandise. This year it couldn't come because of the sanctions, so that was really, really fucked up. Because
Nike make horrible shirts, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Nike are terrible for
no. It was like a signed shirt. We should have got a signed shirt and signed merchandise, and that's like the things you get as a sports club. And now next year, because we have now 500 members, we get more. We get like 2 packs instead of 1. So that's pretty great.
That's superb.
Yeah, that is. And when we get 1,000 members, also legends come to us. You see that in America they got like there's the sports clubs are all united, so they got like more than 1,000 members, more than 2,000 members. So they get legends to come to America, and we want to have that also in the Netherlands. But then we need to get 1,000 members. So that's like the real goal now.
And I really hope that the shirt will be. You were talking about that the shirt will be more beautiful next year. Because I'm collecting those shirts, and I have those shirts with the Champions League badge on it in 2012. And the World Cup was really really nice to win it also for the first time in club history. Because now Chelsea's won it all, and I really want to buy that shirt. With that World Cup badge on it. But I really hope that the shirt is not so ugly as this year. My opinion, I didn't like it.
No, for me, bring back Adidas. That would be my sort of little advice. But
well, I like Nike, but I like it when it's just blue. Just get the home shirt back to just blue. We had that like
crazy details in it. And that's unnecessary, but you see it all around the world. And if you see Chelsea shirts, it's not even that bad, because you see even shirts in other countries where they even do strange things with the club colors and everything. It's even
Barcelona,
worse,
Barca's crazy shirt.
Yeah, and also in Italy, and it's all around the world. It's getting worse and worse. Yeah.
Now, if anybody's interested in joining the Dutch Blues, how do they go about it? So if there's anybody listening to this show that is from Holland, that has probably they either living under a rock, so they've never heard of you guys, but if they wanted to join Dutch Blues, how would they go about it?
Well, they just can send us a direct message on the Instagram of us. We got like Instagram Dutch Blues. It's really nice to follow, also from people who are not from the Netherlands. It's a cool Instagram page. It's my own, so.
Free plug, that's fine. That's what the podcast is for. Free plug, that's okay.
So if they send me a message, I will chat them back, and they can become member really easy. It's free. I'm doing this all for free, so it's really cool.
Yeah, it's for the passion, not for the money.
Yeah.
Too right. Finally, gents, what sort of I asked this to the Carefree, Louisiana boys as well when I had them on the show a few months ago. What does Chelsea Football Club mean to you? And the last question on that, what are your predictions for the forthcoming season? Who do you think will come in? Who do you think will go? Where do you think Chelsea might end up in the league?
Interesting question. It depends, of course, a lot on the transfer window. So after that, we can say much more about it. But for me, the biggest problem is if we talk about problems, offensively, Chelsea's missing something, and Chelsea dropped a lot of points against quite. You can speak about weak opponents because all teams in Premier League have a good level, but against lower teams that are lower in the league table. Chelsea dropped too much points, and it's difficult to find that space to have a player up front who can do something special. Is a little bit of a problem. Lukaku has been disappointing, and Timo Werner. Yeah, the problem with him is that he's a little bit blind. He's just running, and he's not seeing so much. And so offensively, Chelsea needs something if you want to compete for the league title. They're really missing something up front, I think. But organization-wise, it's quite good, even though there has been some weeks, months that Chelsea all of a sudden conceded many goals because that wasn't happening in general with Tuchel. But all of a sudden he conceded 4 goals, for example, against Brentford. That was quite strange. But the goalkeeper is good, the defensive organization is good, the midfield. So it's a difficult team to play against. They're always in top-level matches. They always achieve a really high level. Also those games against Liverpool, but the key is to win, to beat those teams that are lower in the league table, that defend really well, to have something up front who can do something special, good striker. But I'm confident about the future because I think with this owner, Chelsea got a good new owner now. It's totally different compared to when Abramovich came in, because he had to close that gap with the top level teams in the league, to spend a lot to get Chelsea, to make Chelsea a big club. There was needed a lot of money, but nowadays Chelsea is a big club and it's one of the biggest clubs in England, in the world. So it's fine. It's just finding that to continue with what Chelsea is doing, and I hope so. And I hope that they do a little bit better on the transfer market, because they spend also a lot of money on poor players, That has to be better. And it's always nice to see young players coming up. That has been better in the last years. Some young players came through, but in 10 years ago that wasn't happening at all. So that's also quite a nice development. Yeah. I predict in this moment, based on this team, I don't think they will compete for the league title. I think it will be a little bit the same season, So it depends a lot on the transfer market. They need some offensive quality to compete for that league title, I think.
Yeah. I would just saying, like, we need something also defensively. Marcus Alonso isn't good enough on the left, and we got Chilwell, but if he gets an injury again, we got the same problem. And that's was really not that good this season to have Alonso there. So we need somebody else who can play left wing back and right wing back. And we need, of course, 2 center backs with it. And what's great about Bowley is what he's saying. Like, I want to buy players not just on their quality, but also players who just fit the system. And that's really what was missing the last years, with buying loads of players like Morata or Lukaku, especially with the strikers. They just weren't fitting the system. They were scoring goals for their club in their country, but they wouldn't score them for Chelsea because they couldn't fit the system. So we need a striker who finally can score on the 2 goal. So that would be good. And just what Chelsea means for us, what I see in the group and what I see for myself, it's just a way of life, and we have chosen to be a Chelsea supporter, and it's also a bit hard to be a Chelsea supporter in the Netherlands, just like we said before. So yeah, we're just enjoying every moment, everything that we win. and every time we win, they will say to us that we are a success supporter. So yeah, it's really means much for us. And
Yeah, I didn't. I forgot to answer that question. It's nice that you reminded me, Jorrit. I didn't answer that question. True.
you were
No.
too passionate.
Yeah, no, but it's the I don't know the excitement, but also the nerves sometimes that you have. Sometimes you hate it, those finals that Chelsea played in Munich, but also that match against Barcelona in 2012. There were a lot of moments that I thought, this is not good for my heart. I don't want this anymore, But it's also a great feeling, when you win that match in the end, the excitement and all the tension that goes away. It's a beautiful feeling, It's like almost like a drug when you watch it and you feel so nerves, all those nerves, It's great. It's a great feeling. We are really lucky that Chelsea is always competing, and even in the most in really bad seasons, And when I'm talking again about that season in 2012, they finished sixth in the league table, but still you were able to do that. And even that's so strange and beautiful about Chelsea, that even seasons that were really going bad, a manager that was sent away, and in the end they were always able to play a final and to win something, and that's beautiful, This Chelsea is never a boring season. It's never been boring during all those years.
I remember that season with Jose Mourinho that we were like, 17 to 18 in the middle of the season. It was really bad, and like all my friends were like shouting me out, and Chelsea's bad, and now will you support them? Will you support them now? Now they are winning nothing, and that's really special about Chelsea. Like the one season we are like really big and we win everything, like Champions League, or we win the competition, and the next season we are like really shit. I hope that we will get some years behind each other, that we win it all and become like the next City, and that's also what I see for the future. It's now hard to have the competition with City, but I think that they will fall apart in the coming years, and also with Liverpool, and then it will be our time to get it all again.
We finally have got a manager that I'm really positive about him on the long term. We were looking for that, and it brought us a lot of success when the manager came in during the season. With FM Grant, Di Matteo, Guus Hiddink. They did always quite well during the season. You've got an interim manager, but it was always to finish that season. And next year there was someone else, and now this time Tuchel came in during the season, but he's still there, It was not just for a short solution, I really think that we've got a good manager on the long term, and that's really it's a humble guy. It's really I really think that he suits Chelsea so well with his mentality and everything, and I'm really glad that we got Tuchel. Yeah.
Well, let's hope the season sort of pans out quite well. I know this summer's going to be a very busy one for incomings and outgoings. I think there'll be a lot of players leaving that perhaps need to go, and we'll see which players come in. But gents, thank you very much for joining the Blue Day podcast. I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you guys about Chelsea and what it means to you, and seeing, based on the conversations we've just had for the last hour, your passion for Chelsea, and the fact that your passion and your loyalty to the club is no different to somebody who goes every single week. And I think that's important, and I think that's good for supporters groups to have that voice whereby people know that you guys are not just there because of since 2003. You guys are there because you've been supporters of the club for decades. So that's pretty special. But hopefully next season, one or both of you, or even some of your other members, we can meet up at the pensioner, have a couple of drinks, and enjoy watching Chelsea spank Man United, maybe. We shall see.
Great. That
would be lovely, to see.
They will hate us again because Ten Hag will be the manager. So many people will be. How can you enjoy that after what he's done for Ajax? How can you enjoy it? That big, but it would be great because it's always great. I will never have compassion for Manchester United. For me, it's fine if they continue like this. for the rest of my life. I will never compassion for that club. So
I remember that
being
game
them,
against.
it's always lovely.
I remember that game against Mourinho when we beaten him with 4-0 against Man United back when he
That's
came
right,
the
yes,
first
4-0.
year. Yeah.
Lovely. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Well,
we do.
we shall see. But gents, thank you very much for coming on to the
Yeah.
show. All the best, and
Thank
yeah,
you too.
we'll definitely meet
Thank
up
you.
at the bridge
Yeah.
for next season.
Would be
See you
great.
then.
Would be great. See you then.